What's up, YouTube? So, this is the response to the response video that I made to this person. And they said, if you don't play if you don't watch a guide. That's the title of his video. And we were talking about basically because I didn't like the fact that you would tell somebody to go watch a video, right? When people are like failing the dungeon or stuff like that, right? And I was gonna type in the comments of his video, but it got to be really long, so I was like, I'm just gonna do another video and respond to it. So let's take it like point by point. It's only 9 minutes and 28 seconds long, but I'm sure that my video is going to be longer than that. I'll try to keep it short, but I always talk a lot when I do like reaction stuff.
So, yeah, I do belong in this game. I do belong in this game. I love the response from somebody who made a video about it. It's absolutely amazing. I've got so many comments, and I want to, use them as evidence, but I don't want to put y'all words into it, so that's why I'm going to leave y'all out of it a little bit, because I do see y'all comments. I feel bad for half of y'all, and for other people, I mean, let's be honest, I either don't understand or I do understand. It's just that, some things are just the way it is, right? And, we just here to agree to disagree.
So real quick, I think while I'm thinking about it, I think that both of us just have two different point of views. Like we just have two very different point of views about like telling people to go watch a guide or what they have to do. Maybe I don't know if he doesn't understand that I'm somebody who, when I go into a dungeon, right? When I go into a dungeon, I don't necessarily know everything. Sometimes I'll go watch the video or whatever, but I'll watch the video, but then when I go into the dungeon, I still have to do the task that I'm supposed to do. Now, I'm usually the tank. Well, I'm always the tank, right? So I don't really have to mess with a whole lot of the mechanics, except in some of them. Okay, first of all, I haven't done every single dungeon, right? I've done a couple of the level 51s and the level 20, 30, and 41, right? And specifically the lion dungeon, right? The one with the lion in it. He shoots the fireballs and the tank has to block the fireballs. I gotta block like 2 of the fireballs and not get hit by the third, or else I'll die. There's just there's a bunch of little mechanics that everybody has to get right, and everybody has to be on it, or if one person's not, and if somebody dies, it kind of it weakens the team immediately. So if the tank dies, then there's nobody to tank all the damage. There's the healer can't heal the tank, so that the tank can tank the damage, and the damage dealers can do their job without being killed, right? And then if the damage dealers start dropping off one by one, then it's going to take you longer. You're going to have to go through more rotations, right? And then, maybe people start dropping off, and then everything falls apart. If the healer dies, then the tank can only tank but for so long, and he can kind of hold on a little bit and kind of replenish his health a little bit, but he can't heal as hard as the healer can heal him. So and then if he's not tanking hard enough, and he's getting hit, then once he dies after the healer is dead because he can't be healed, then then the damage dealers are in there and they're squishy, and they just die. So then you have to start over again. But everybody has a job. But let's continue going, because I already watched half the video, and then I came back to listen to it again so that I could answer it as he goes.
So I just want to make sure that I make this vid for the person who tagged me into that other video. I don't want to be ignorant as hell at all. I really don't, because I saw the thumbnail of what the person posted. If I don't respond fast, people are going to be like, damn, that's what he said in the thumbnail.
Nah, you don't have to worry about that. Nobody watches my videos anyway. The whole point of me putting that in the thumbnail was to kind of clickbait, but I don't know. I don't know if it would be triggered by it, because I know there are a lot of people out there that that are of the camp of you need to go watch a video before you set foot in this dungeon. And then there's me. and like maybe my friends who are like, yeah, you know, we watched video, but like being in the dungeon, and then it's like I've watched the video, or I might mess up a couple of times, or maybe one of my friends messes up a couple of times, and we're trying to like dial it in, right? And then like one of the people that is in the dungeon with us is just like, dude, or like, or this is the thing, you ask a question, right, to the person who's upset, right, and they're like, well, I just need clarity on this thing, right, in the dungeon, right? I just need clarity on this. What am I supposed to do here? And am I doing this wrong? Am I supposed to do it at this point in time? Like, you know what? I ask questions. I do ask questions, but then the person goes, well, you just need to go watch a video. It's only like 2 minutes long. And it's like, well, yes, I watched the video, but I still have to do the task in the game. Like, watching the video is not going to immediately make me understand 100% what I'm supposed to do. If we use the same, I guess the same idea, where it was like the dude that's right before in the level 20 dungeon, how the level 20 dungeon doesn't even show you that guy, that little mini boss guy right before the main boss, will kill your whole team if you do not stun him after his shield goes down. You don't know that in level 20 dungeon. You go to the level 50 version of that dungeon, if you don't stun him after his red shield comes down before he explodes your entire team, if you don't stun him in that small window, you've killed your team. And we didn't know this. We knew this. We knew that we had to stun him, right? Even people in the chat, and even people in our chat in our team were saying that we got to stun him after his shield goes down. We got to break his shield first, and then we got to stun him, right? We just didn't know we had to wait for the red shield to go down. We just knew we had to break his shield, and we thought, oh, the red shield is the broken shield. Stun him when his shield turns red. That's what we thought, right? But I watched a video that didn't give me that detail. So like I watched a video, but then I went into the dungeon knowing partial information, and it's just like you're gonna end up having to do some trial and error stuff sometimes. And I'm not saying to just do trial and error over and over and over again. I heard you say that later in the video, but like, I'm not going to sit there and just do trial and error over and over and over again and then not say anything, right? Like that's not smart either. Like you want to talk to your team and communicate with your team so that y'all can figure it out. Like that's the whole point. Like, but like people just don't do that anymore. And it's like, if you start doing that, if more people start doing that, and people start having a little bit more patience with the people that they are teamed with, and not getting frustrated so easily because of the pumpkin thing or whatever, right? Like people not getting so frustrated so easily, you can make more friendships. Like you can have more reasons to add people to your friends list from the game because you've gone through this dungeon and figured things out together, and you know like what to expect from each other, and it's like, okay, well, these people are cool, like we figured this dungeon out together, maybe we can all get together and do a different dungeon and figure the next ones out, right? And y'all can watch the video, but y'all still got to do it together, and y'all got to be cohesive when you do it so that y'all can get through it, because you're going to fail a couple of times, and you got to expect that. Like everybody's not going to knock out the dungeon the first time they play it, right? Like, and then I'm sorry, I'm remembering all of the things that you said in the first half of the video, so I'm like saying them while they're fresh in my mind. But like, you're not gonna finish the dungeon the first time all the time, and even if you do say, hey, this is my first time, which I do sometimes, which I kind of stop doing, because like when you tell people that in a randomly match-made dungeon that, hey, this is my first time doing the dungeon, I feel like they get frustrated faster because they're like, oh my God, this guy doesn't know the mechanics, right? We're not going to get to knock this dungeon out quickly so that I can get my rewards and leave. That's what I feel like people get like frustrated faster when you tell them, hey, this is my first time doing the dungeon. And it's like, They're like, oh, it's been X amount of weeks that the game has been out. What do you mean it's the first time you're doing a dungeon? Like, dude, everybody didn't start the game on the first day, right? I mean, I did, but like, but like we're doing other stuff. Like everybody's doing different things. Everybody doesn't go straight to the dungeons. Everybody doesn't do all the dungeons. Everybody doesn't do maybe doesn't do the dungeons because they didn't need something from that dungeon, but they're doing it and now they're there because they want something from it to sell or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're there with another friend or whatever, right? Like it's just it's so weird and like difficult to not like irk people because like there's many different reasons that people leave, right? There's many different reasons that people leave. Some people leave because they get frustrated because they messed up, and I'm like, and I try to reassure people to not leave, and they're like, yo, we'll get it, we'll get it, don't worry about it. I try to make it so that people feel like they can fail as many times as they want until we learn the dungeon and get through it, right? I don't want people to feel like, oh, I'm bringing them down, because there's definitely been people in the team where they're just like, I'm sorry guys, and then they just leave. Like they say I'm sorry for like messing up in the dungeon and getting killed and wiping and having the team wipe, and then they leave, which I'm like, that's worse. You could have just stayed. I don't care if we fail over and over again. As long as you stay here, we learn it together, and then we get through it, right? Like that's how it's supposed to be. But like people get frustrated at themselves and they're like, oh, I let the team down, and then they leave, or they get frustrated because of a mechanic and they leave, or they get frustrated because somebody else on the team didn't do what they were supposed to do, and one person is messing up and this other person messed up something and this other person messed up something, and they're like, this team sucks, and then they leave. Like it's many different reasons, and you can't please everybody, but like I don't know, like sometimes I just try to get people to be calm and chill in the dungeon and just stay and play, right? Like so that when we beat it, everybody feels great. Like
That, don't join a party if you don't know the mechanics. No, that's not the whole point of this video that I posted. The whole point of this video I posted is that players are leaving the dungeon for no odd reason, even
and I don't think that you meant to say, like, I don't think that when I said that you said, don't join a dungeon unless you've watched a video. What I meant to say was that, like, to me, you say that other things are toxic, but to me, that is one of the things that feels very toxic. Like telling someone to not, like if you were to type it into chat or tell some random person, go watch a video, it feels more toxic. And it may not feel toxic to you, but like it feels toxic coming from every last person that I've ever heard say it. It's always after people mess up, right? That they are like, go watch a video. And it's just like, well, I asked the question. It's a simple question. If you know the answer, just tell me the answer so that we can get on with doing the dungeon. But it's always just go watch a video. And it's like, or you should have watched the video before you came in here. And it's just like, well, that doesn't matter now. I'm here. We failed a few times. I've kind of learned what it is, and we're dialing it in. We'll get it, right? Like, if I watched the video or didn't watch the video, we were still going to fail the first few times. That's just how these dungeons work. They're difficult. You have to be cohesive with your team.
Including where they die to a mechanic. And literally in the Halloween dungeon, it messes up for certain players if you straight up leave the dungeon, including when you get that checkpoint right there.
I haven't done this dungeon.
I could go
just because I just never feel like getting back on the game.
On the damn freaking pumpkin. And for some odd reason, some players get pissed off whenever they think that you are quote unquote trolling, quote unquote, whatever the reason that they want to get mad at you for. Because let's be honest, you can't please everybody. You can't really sit here and help anybody who can't really help themselves.
So that's another thing. Like if somebody thinks that you're trolling, right? Like they think that you're just trolling them and failing on purpose because you get stuck on like the pumpkin thing or whatever, and they've never messed up on it, but for whatever reason you keep messing up on it. Like I have definitely gotten stuck in a place in a dungeon. It was like this one place in one of the dungeons where you stand on the geyser, right? And the geyser pushes you up, and then you're supposed to glide over to this bridge and jump over. The amount of times that I failed gliding over to that bridge after standing on that geyser, I'm just like, oh my God, people are gonna hate me so much. I'm trying. I'm just sitting there like, I'm coming. I'm having a little trouble like getting over this thing. So then I kept doing it, and then I was like, I just don't want to die because there's a bunch of enemies, and I'm like, I gotta walk around them, not get attacked by them, because if I get attacked by them alone, I'm definitely gonna die. So I gotta run around them, stand on the geyser, get pushed up in the air, and glide over to the thing without like aggroing these enemies, which is very annoying. And I definitely aggroed them a few times, but I made it over to the bridge, made it over. And as I'm walking over to get to where the rest of everybody else is, they're like, oh, I think he's still back at the, and I'm just like, no, I made it. I'm on my way. I'm right here. Like, like I'm 1000% not trolling them. It's just that for whatever reason, that's the first time I ever did that section, and I just could not get over there. And I was just like, this is stupid. Like, what is wrong with me, right? So, and it's like, sometimes people, if that was somebody else, they might be like, oh man, I'm sorry, I can't get over the thing, so I'm just gonna leave. Instead of just waiting. And they're like, yo, we're just chill, we're just gonna wait here for you or whatever till you get over the thing. It's like, we just need people to beat the boss. Like, that's all.
By understanding other players, or by, explaining something to some players that don't really have the knowledge to. So I really don't know what to really get to your type of point of view. If you're talking about I should have helped players, I do. I do help players. I do help.
And I'm not saying that you don't help players. It's just that telling someone to go watch a video, that's the only thing. I was saying that telling someone to go watch a video just feels toxic to me. Like, that also is a toxic thing to me. Because, like, if you look at all games, if you've played like games for a really long time, right? Like fucking, I'm old, dude. I'm like 30, 36, 37 years old, and I played a lot of MMOs in the past. Like, not really like super hardcore or anything like that, but like a lot of MMOs in the past. And like in World of Warcraft, right? When World of Warcraft came out, and I remember like Asmongold talking about this, and I remember experiencing it a few times while I was playing it for the short amount of time that I played it when it came out, that there was no matchmaking, right? There was no matchmaking. There was no party finder or whatever, or anything like that. You literally, if you wanted to do a dungeon, you had to go up to the dungeon, and you were just kind of like waiting there for other people to just walk up, and then you're like, yo, you trying to go in, you trying to party up and go in and do this dungeon, right? And now we have matchmaking and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like having matchmaking and that type of stuff, it's just like I feel like it hurts the community aspect of the MMO more than it helps it, because it's like, yeah, we can just queue up for a dungeon and just run around and wait for it to put us with 5 other people, and then just teleport into the dungeon and then just run through the dungeon, and then like not really have to talk to each other at all until something goes wrong, until somebody gets frustrated, right? And at that time, it's just like, if telling somebody to go watch a video is just another layer on top of ruining the community aspect of the MMO like genre. So like that's just what it seems like to me. It just feels like it ruins the community aspect of it. It's like, yeah, sure, you could go watch a video, but that's not going to fix the problem. It's only going to give you a slight amount of information, and then you still have to act on it and do the thing. So like, if you go in there into the dungeon, you're not gonna knock that dungeon out. You're not gonna flawlessly knock it out the first time. You're still gonna fuck up, because you're gonna be like, oh, I have to do it this way. I have to tweak this little this little thing that I did, or I gotta make sure I, I don't know, go up during this time. I was like, oh, I didn't remember seeing this animation. So like I gotta get used to seeing this animation so that I remember to do this certain thing. Like it's just you gotta fail a little bit to get ahead. So like telling people to watch a video just it kind of it just I feel like it just hurts things more than it helps. It hurts things more than it helps. If the I'm talking about people who are actually trying, right? People who are actually trying to learn the dungeon, actually trying to learn. They probably did watch a video, and you tell them to watch a video, and they're like, "Dude, I watched a video already." Or if you have people in your party who are just literally trolling you, and they're just like mad, and they're just like pulling the boss when you're trying to like talk to the team or whatever. Because I've had those people in my party too. They're annoying. Or you have people that literally pull every single enemy in the dungeon for no reason when you could just walk around some of them and just continue on to the boss. It's like they pull every enemy at the same time, and it's like, dude, can you stop doing that? And they just keep doing it. It's just like, dude, come on. Like those are people that I'm not saying you got to be patient with. Screw those people. Like if they don't want to like be a team player and they're not trying to like actually like finish the dungeon and talk and communicate, then yeah, those people are a problem. But the people who are chill and they're trying to just get through the dungeon, it's like telling somebody go watch a video seems not the best foot to start out on. Like that's my only thing.
Players a lot, right? Not as much as other players do, but it's like, let's be honest, I do explain certain things, including when like I get pull Andes in the party. Let's be honest, if I was a healer,
Yeah, we were
most
just
likely the
talking
reason
about
why I'm
this.
not a healer is because that there's pull Andes in there who loves to pull the boss whenever I teach. Yeah, and that's the thing. I get annoyed about that because there's some pull Andes in here who basically just pull wherever they want to pull, right? Because they don't have time or like they don't want to wait. If somebody on the mechanics, they just don't have time. They just basically just type on the pull. No, I'm not typing on the pull. Include on a PlayStation controller. I'm a PlayStation 5 person, by the way. It looks like you on a PC because, I see that gaming chair, baby. But the thing is, like, I could be wrong. So that's why I'm like,
I am
not
on
really going to say
PC.
much about
I'm
it.
on
Or
PC.
probably
I
just
don't.
say, like, maybe.
Honestly, I don't know how y'all play on controller. Two of my friends that play with me both play on controller. One of them is on PC and he plays on controller, and the other one is on PS5 and he plays on controller. I play on this. But it's basically just a keyboard. Like it's just a keyboard. I play on keyboard and mouse. But it's just a keypad. So I don't have to move my fingers all the way across the keyboard to press buttons. And all the buttons are like right there, in within my reach. All of the buttons are within my reach. So it's a ton of buttons, but yeah, that's what I play on. But it just basically sees it as a keyboard. But yeah, I don't know how y'all play on controller. I just can't do MMOs on controller. I see that it changes like your UI and stuff so that you just have you hold R2 to do and the different skills and stuff like that. But I don't know. I never liked playing like an MMO on a controller. If I can avoid playing an MMO on a controller, I'm not playing an MMO on a controller.
Maybe I am wrong. So that's why I'm saying, just say it. Right? But if you don't know mechanics, that is basically on you as a person to learn. That is basically your ability as a player, a Throne Liberty player, to learn. If you run into players who just straight up just
just make sure you're never on the same side as the tank. Bruh, watch a vid. You're clueless. So this boss, right?
dog warding you, by cussing you out or calling you.
I've only been this boss, I've only been to this dungeon one time, right? I've only been to this dungeon one time. My friend queued up with me. We got a bunch of people. We got to this point. Like he told me, because he had been through this dungeon already, right? He had been through this dungeon already, and he was telling me the stuff that I needed to know about the dungeon and like all the stuff before you get to the boss, and like when you get to the boss, he was giving me all the information that he could, right? So he was like, okay, when you start this thing, do not touch the lights. The lights will kill you. And I was like, okay. So then I think there was another like mini boss or something like that that like made these lights or whatever shoot up, and he was like, yeah, first you're going to he's gonna pull you in, and then you have to leave through the lights, and then uh you have to walk away from him. He's gonna pull you in, you have to leave away from him or something like that. And I think he forgot to tell me that light shoots out the ground, and and the boss pulls us in, and I immediately start walking away from him. Light shoots out the ground, I die, and I'm like, Chris, you forgot to tell me about the light shooting out the ground, right? So then he told me everything, all the other stuff, and then he was telling me about the boss. Now the boss was pretty. This boss seems pretty complicated. Now, even if I watch a video, I feel like I still will have to do the act of fighting the boss and fail it like 2, 3, 4 times in order to understand everything that's going on. Even though I know what the mechanics are, I have to experience them for myself. So like I think we went in, we did like a first part of the boss. I think we failed it once. I think we failed it twice. And then like I learned about like the thing you had to walk over to, and then he's like, yeah, it's gonna shoot this beam, but you're gonna be on the opposite side of the boss from everybody else, and because I'm the tank, and I was like, okay, I guess I understand, and but I was like, I never got to experience that part, so like I never got to actually learn that part. So then I'm sure that I would screw it up, even if I did watch the video and then do what they did and then not know like, oh crap, I was supposed to stand there, or I wasn't supposed to stand there that long. Like, you know what I mean? Like eventually I would just fail it once or fail it twice and be like, okay, now I get it. And now I can do it without like having to worry about it. But then like we never got that far because the person that was with us, or one or two people that was with us, left the game. And then we queued up again, and nobody was queuing up for this dungeon. And it was just like, we were sitting there for like 15, 20 minutes waiting for somebody to like join this dungeon. And I'm just like, bro, I'm about to get off. Like, we were just sitting there because we couldn't do it with like 3 or 4 people. We needed the other 2 people. So it was just like, all right, I'm out. And since then, I've stopped playing the game because like I work full time, right? And while I would love to come home and just sit and play this game and stream it and do stuff, right? I can't, because like I just don't have enough time to even be mediocre at this game, because this game is like guild focused, and the best stuff in the game you're probably gonna get from, you know, guild fights and stuff like that, right? Guild fights, guild bosses, being able to fight people, you know, PvP and stuff like that. And while I do want to do that, and I want to like grind dungeons, and I can't come home, grind a dungeon, and fail the dungeon 50,000 times, and then not get anything, or fail it a bunch of times, clear it once for the entire night, and then just get up and go to work in the morning the next day. So like I don't play this game right now. I got the level 50. I started like, you know, trying to like, you know, get gear and trying to, you know, add some traits to things or whatever. I never fully traded out my blues or anything like that. Like I never did everything that I wanted to do in the game yet, because I just don't have enough time. That's it. So I'm like playing other stuff. I play other games or whatever. This is not my only channel, of course. But this channel was specifically for like RPG stuff. But my main channel is where I post like other game stuff, and then I have like a TCG channel. But whatever. We're not here to plug all my channels, but whatever. Like that's
You don't know
it's just,
mechanics.
this game is just
you as a person to learn.
not
That
for
is basically your ability as
not
a
for
player,
working
a
people.
player to learn.
If you want to
learn
get
to
anywhere,
play
it's
from
not
just
for
straight up
people
just
that
dog
like gotta
warding
work
you
full
by
time.
cussing you
I don't
out
know if you
on
work
these
full time or
people
not,
clueless or-
but if you do and you still good, and you got like a solid crew that's always on at the same time, great. I also am on the West Coast, and my friends are all on the East Coast, so it's a 3-hour time difference. I'm on the East Coast server, and it's just like it's only like 3 or 4 of us, right? So it's like we're not gonna get into like this huge guild and be able to and being powerful enough to be a threat on our server. So it's like we're kind of like hard locked into being ass. So it's we just be wanting to run dungeons. Like that's all. That's all. But I just can't do it, man.
Dumb or whatever.
Not in this game anymore.
That come out their damn mouth, right? It's on you to ignore them, but it's also on you to tell them like, it's my first time.
We talked
You
about that
personally have a
earlier.
responsibility
Like how telling your first
who has
time
a class
is
to do what you have to do.
not always great.
So yeah, so I'm basically just telling you guys like, this is the type of thing you could avoid, right? But you as a player has a job, right? And whenever you have a question, you gotta ask it, not just trial and error.
This is what I was talking about earlier. I was saying that nobody. I don't think anybody or me or any of my friends or have ever done stuff trial and error without asking questions or taking a peek at a video or anything like that. But it's still difficult, right? Like it's still difficult being a cohesive team with random other people. So it's like, okay, my friend, he was like, yo, man, he was dreading in the not in the Roaring Temple, but whatever the level 50 version of the Roaring Temple is, the lion, where you have to like go fill up the thing and then drop the water, because in the level 30 dungeon, all you got to do is just drop the water every time. But in level 50 dungeon, you got to fill it up and then drop it. I know nothing about that. I only know that because they had to do it. And they had to do it so many times. So I would recognize when, they're like, oh, I'm going up. Or I would see somebody fly up and I'm like, okay, now I got to expect the water to come down. Hopefully he makes it up there. And I'm not going to be mad at that guy for messing that up, right? Because that's a mechanic I don't have to deal with at all. I'm the tank. So I'm always down in the front lines trying to keep the aggro of the monster. I'm not going to get mad that these dudes are messing this up over and over again. Because like it's stressful for you to have to go up there and I guess go fill the thing up and then make sure it gets dropped on the monster when he starts exploding acid and fire everywhere, and then and wiping the team, right? So it's like, oh, it's kind of stressful. It's kind of stressful because my friend was like, yo, dog, I don't want to go fly up there. I hope somebody else does it. But if nobody else did it, he was like, all right, man, I'll go do it. And he did it. There's like maybe he messed it up once or twice, but most of the other times they do it just fine. So it's just like I don't care about that. Like I just my focus is like, dude, why is the monster not looking at me? Like how I swear I'm hitting him with all my aggro moves. I swear I have all my perks on for all the aggro stuff to bring all the aggro to me, and I'm hitting the freaking monster, and I'm like, why is he not looking at me? Why he keep turning around? Stop turning around. So it's like that's what I'm frustrated and I'm trying to like do. And then like I get locked in sometimes, and I'm like, all right, I gotta make sure I hit all of these aggro moves on cooldown every time, right? And using the one that maxes out my aggro, right? So I kept doing that, and I still feel like I have to look it up. And I was doing better because I noticed that the monster was looking directly at me way more often when I locked in, and I was like, all right, on cooldown to make sure I do these all on cooldown, right? And it feels good to feel like you're doing the right thing and everybody's doing their job. And then every time everybody like learns a little bit more and they do their job a little bit more through trial and error, like, well, I guess not through trial and error, but through repetition of knowing what to do and trying to do it better and better the next time, it's like it gets to be much more fun. And it's like, okay, you see hope even though you failed it again. It's like, dude, we failed a boss at 4% health, bro. I think we've also failed a boss at like 1% health. It was crazy. It was like the one guy was left in there. It was at 1%, and all he had to do was hit him one more time. I know he felt like shit. But he was the last person in there. We all died, and we're just like rooting for him. We're like, come on, man, let's go, you can do it, right? Like rooting him on and stuff. And then he's in there, and he gets the dude down to 1%, but then he gets hit, he dies, and it's like, and he's like, I'm sorry, guys, and we're like, nah, man, you're good, right? And we're just like rooting him on because like this, like there needs to be more of that. More camaraderie needs to be in these games, but people are so worried about like worried about somebody or that how much that one person doesn't know. It's like y'all didn't, everybody at some point didn't know how to do the boss. The people that started doing the boss before any videos were out, they didn't know how to do it. So everybody was trying to figure it out. But then it's like, well, once somebody figures it out and people are posting videos about it, it's like, well, go watch the video. And it's like, come on, like, it's just, where's the camaraderie, bro? Like where's the camaraderie?
Until like somebody say something. You as a player have to understand that if you have a voice, you
Also, the other thing is that if you're on PlayStation, right, most people on console don't have a keyboard plugged in, and that I'm also, aware of, right? I'm also aware of that too, where I've been telling my friend who plays on PS5, I'm like, bro, plug in a keyboard. Like, he'll be complaining to me about stuff that's happening in there, like stuff that people are not doing, and I'm like, plug in your keyboard. Go get a keyboard, plug it into your PS5, and tell them the things that they're missing. Because if you know the answer to the problem that you're having, plug your keyboard in and tell them. And he's like, I don't feel like going to plug the keyboard in. I was like, well, you can't complain about it then. You can't complain about somebody doing something wrong, you knowing the answer, and then just letting it happen because you don't feel like plugging in your keyboard. You can't complain. Like, and the game has voice chat too. The game has voice chat, but I don't think anybody ever uses the voice chat unless, I guess, because they're using Discord most of the time, right? So like even us, like we were using Discord most of the time. We don't use the in-game chat, but the game has in-game chat, which is crazy, and that no one uses it. Like no one even, I've never even heard anybody troll with it, like using it to like say stuff in close proximity to people. Like I don't know.
you could use it and be like, I don't understand something. Because let me tell you guys something. Where people out here are telling you, hey, and I've been seeing this multiple times on my side, by the way. It's just that I don't have it recorded. If I did or have a live stream, y'all would be like, okay, this is a whole different story right here. When somebody said, do everybody knows the mechanics and nobody said anything and they straight up just wiped the party, or like they messed up and they killed 2-3 other people, I mean, that's on them as a person to open up their mouth. It's not.
They might not be able to open up their mouth. that's the thing. Is like either they don't want to say anything on mic because there's various reasons that people might not want to say anything on mic. Dude, if there are younger kids playing, they might not want to say anything on mic because they're kids. And it's just because like their voice sounded like a kid, they might know that people just despise hearing kids' voices on mic, so they might not say anything. I don't know if that's the case for sure, but I know that it happens. It definitely happens in Valorant, and I've stopped people from being mean to kids on Valorant because kids wanted to get on the mic and actually, communicate with people, and good communication, not just saying anything. Good communication. And people are like, dude, just shut up, though. I'm tired of hearing your voice. I'm like, bro, you relax. He wanted to get on the mic and actually say something that was important and, like useful. And then you get on the mic and tell him to stop. How about you stay off the mic? Right? Like, so like, it's like that happens, or there's girls that don't ever want to say anything on mic because they just get hate from dudes for no reason on mic. So they just don't say stuff. Then there might just be other people don't have a keyboard because they on console, or I don't know, they don't use a headset because they just don't know that the game has voice chat because it's MMO, and MMOs usually don't have voice chat like that. So that could be another thing that they don't know. They can't say nothing. They're not gonna sit there and type. I don't blame people for not sitting there and just typing, scrolling all over the thing with the D-pad, or using the touchpad on the PS5 to sit there and try to type messages while you're in a game to people who have a keyboard and are just typing away. It's like, yeah, they're probably not going to type long messages using the on-screen keyboard. Like that, there's just not. They're just going to leave. Like it's unfortunate, but they just going to leave. Which is why I usually be like, all right, man, it's cool. Let's try to go in again. I don't expect a message back from everyone, but like I try to say stuff that will ease people's frustration, right? that will ease their frustration so they don't have to feel bad about messing something up. And we can just go and it's like, dude, yeah, let's just fail it a bunch of times so we can learn it or whatever. Because, you know, I and then say, you know, I don't know this either. Like if you take the leader role in the party or whatever, and you're like, look, I'm trying to do this too. I don't know this thing, and he doesn't know this other part, and we're just trying to figure this out. Let's just keep failing at it and figuring it out. We're moving forward. Everybody's getting better. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Let's keep going.
No, oh, they were uncomfortable. You know, maybe you should explain it. Just explain it just to whatever, right? But if you just explain it, are they going to learn from it? No. People are not going to learn from their own mistakes sometimes.
Sometimes those are the people who are not trying to learn. Those are the people who are the pull Andes. Those are the people who are the, I don't have no time to be playing this game, so I'm just going to leave because nobody's going to carry me through the match. I need somebody to carry me through the match. So I don't want to sit here and fail this over and over again. I'm going to go find a new team. Those are the ones. Those are the people. Screw those people. But the people that are actually trying to learn, and you can see that they're getting better at what they're doing because everybody is moving forward and getting better at doing the boss, and y'all are, you know, getting further and further in the boss each time, then like those people, be patient with them.
Okay, they just don't understand something because they're not a PvE person. They're probably a PvP person, right? There's two type of person in this game: PvP, PvE, or both. If you go at both, nice. If you're not good at both, well, here's the thing: you're gonna have to learn from the other side anyway, because these are the type of content you're gonna jump into anyway. So it's great to have guides to able to make sure that you have an easy time. Guides equals easy time, but
No, guides don't always equal easy time. Guides just sometimes help you to understand what you're supposed to do so you know what you're looking for when you go in. It doesn't necessarily make it easy. It just makes it so that you understand what you just got hit by and what you got destroyed by. So it's like when your party wipes, if you didn't watch the guide and your party wipes, you're like, well, why did that happen? If you watch the guide in your party wipes, you know why your party wiped and you know to look out for that next time y'all run the dungeon.
But I'm just saying that's up to you though if you want to have an easy time. Some people are frustrated at certain players, and I'm not the one that's frustrated. I'm the one who's trying to look out for your sanity and your concern and your mental health. But like I said, your concern is little to me because the thing is, even though I'm making sure that every single one of you is very, very like mindful of what type of players you might run into whenever you go into a blind run. For yourself, not for everybody else. Everybody else probably know the mechanics, but you don't, right? And you mess up. And now you're going to sit on the back of the wall, back of the blockish wall, right? And wait for the boss to die. And you didn't learn anything because it got carried through, right? And then you're going to go to the next dungeon and you're going to do the same thing. It's not going to work out. You're going to have to eventually learn, right? Including when like players are going to do the same thing. That's how players don't learn. They don't get the mechanics explained from the boss at all. So that's why I'm like,
if they not learning from their mistakes, those are the type of people that will not go watch a video. So like telling those people that do not learn from their mistakes at all, those people will not go watch a video. They don't care about getting better. They will not, they gear probably look like anything, right? They probably don't know how to trade out their gear. They don't know what things that they're aiming for. They don't know, you know, how to tell if a piece of gear is better or if they should switch this green piece of gear to their blue gear next, or should they switch this blue piece of gear to their purple, or should they keep their blue gear right now? Like they don't know none of that. Those are the type of people that don't learn from their mistakes. They not going to, so you're actually wasting your breath telling those type of people to go watch a video. Those are like they like if you have people that are literally just failing, and then but they're not learning anything, and it's, I guess it's kind of hard to know if they're learning or not in certain dungeons. Because let's say, for instance, we're talking about like the level 20 dungeon. I just off the top of my head, right? The level 50 or level 20 dungeon, and you got to go stand in that black circle. The very first time I did that, somebody told me, they was like, yo, you guys stand in a black circle, right? Now, I hadn't watched the video first. Now, I went in there with me, two of my friends, and it was like, oh, you got, and this was like early. So I didn't even think to go like look for a video for it because this was very early, right? And we went in there and they were like, yeah, you guys got to stand in the black circle when the black circle shows up. I didn't know that the black circle was going to be someone's marked with a black circle. I thought there was just going to be a black circle that shows up in the middle of the floor. So I'm looking in the middle of the floor and waiting for this black circle to show up. And then I don't see anything. And then once somebody gets marked, and then I turn my camera around, everybody's running toward this black circle that's on the other side of the room underneath somebody's feet. And I'm like, why is it all the way over there? Come to find out, it's somebody that's marked. So it's like, dude, if you had the circle on you, right? Why not run to the middle of the room? Run to where everybody is so that they don't have to run as far, right? So that's a lesson learned. It's like a lesson learned. So then we started putting down a marker on the ground. So they was like, okay, well, if you get marked, run toward this marker, right? So that everybody knew to run toward that marker when somebody got marked. So that it was easier for everybody to get to the circle, right? Like that's the type of stuff that you learn through trial and error when you play in the game. And it's like every video that somebody puts out is not going to say those little things, and you won't know that. You'll just pick one and be like, I'm gonna watch this video. They'll give you a general rundown of what the dungeon is, but they're not gonna give you all the time, not give you all the little things that you could be doing to make it easier for your team to get through it. So like y'all gonna go in, you'll understand what you're looking for kind of, but then y'all will still fail until y'all like devise a strategy around the knowledge that y'all know. So like either way, you're going to fail a couple of times.
It's better to look up a guide because, like, if you don't look up a guide and somehow you just randomly get past the boss because people will carry you or something, you're going to have to learn from what you see. But the thing is, some bosses like Duke Magna and Shakal blocks you from looking at the boss arena. Like, let's be honest, it's going to be like that. Including when you got to sit behind the damn gate and watch the rest of the players, either trial through or beat the boss or die or whatever, right? I also want to make an addition, right? When it comes down to learning, right? When somebody's explaining a mechanic, the first thing some people do, some impatient people do, is pull the boss. Now, I have instances.
This is true. This is very true. Like, you'll fail the boss a couple of times, and then you're like, okay, hold on. This is what we got to do. And then you got Leroy Jenkins over there, and he's like, all right, that's what I got to do. And then he just hits the boss, or he just pulls the boss. And it's like, dude, and I don't know if this is a universal thing, but me and all my friends seem to be on the same page when it's like, the tank pulls the boss, right? The tank pulls the boss, not anybody else. Everybody else stands around until the tank hits the boss. So if the tank is not hitting the boss, nobody hits the boss. But then you have the people that are like, oh, your random damage dealer person who's trying to, hurry up and get the dungeon done or whatever. You're sitting there trying to type, and then like you're standing right outside. Like you didn't even come into the thing yet. Right, like you be standing outside of the bubble where the bubble is gonna show up, right, or the wall is gonna show up, and then you're typing. You're like, okay, this is what we got to do, blah 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 blah, and then somebody hits the boss, locks you out of the thing. And it's like, dog, what is your problem? Why would you hit? Are you the tank? No. Well, why would you hit the boss? Like that's the thing that gets on my nerves a lot.
Where I literally try to teach somebody Shakal, right, from Cursed Wasteland. Literally, somebody pulled the boss with a bow and arrow. They shot the boss, and I lost half of my HP instantly, right? Because that's.
But at that point, like if somebody does make that mistake, it is stupid that they do that. But like if somebody does make that mistake, it's like not even a mistake. So okay, actually, sometimes it might be a mistake because if you're locked onto the boss and then you have, because I have my attack button on my mouse click. That's not where it normally is. It's normally on like E or something like that, right? And I changed my attack to my mouse click because it feels more natural to click the mouse to do your basic attack for me. So that's why I moved it. But I don't have a ranged character, so I'm lucky that I don't, because I would make that mistake sometimes where I would be standing all the way back away from the boss, but I'll be locked onto the boss, right? And I will click my mouse and my character just takes off running toward the boss. And I'm like, stop. And then I forget that I can move with the, this happened one time, but I forget that I can move with the joystick, right? Or move with ASDW, because that's what my joystick is set to. And I'm trying to click to make my character walk like to my mouse click, and I'm like, that's not this game. So I'm just sitting there basically just hitting attack over and over again, and my character's just haul assing toward the boss. And then I move my joystick, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking stupid. Like, so I could assume that sometimes, in most cases, people, yeah, it's pull Andes that will definitely just pull the boss. They'll pull the boss when nobody's ready, and then it's like, dog, why did you do that? But then sometimes it might be an accident where you click your attack button by accident, and the dude with the bow and arrow goes, poof, and he's like, shit, right? Like he might not have mean to do it, and then and then now everybody's fighting the boss, and nobody was ready. You're in the middle of typing something, so you gotta hit delete or highlight it and delete it because you don't want to hit enter because it's half a message, and then. And then you're like getting hit and you're trying to like get your bearings, and it's like, yo, just wipe. Just wipe. Don't even, if somebody hits the boss and nobody was ready, I'd just be like, yo, just wipe. I literally will not attack. Like if somebody attacks the boss and nobody was ready for real, I would literally just stand there and not do anything and just be like, yo, just let it wipe. Just wipe so we can just go back and do it instead of wasting all of this time trying to fight the boss on this, like, when everybody wasn't ready. Just wipe. It's not an issue. We wipe when we're trying and we just go back in. So if somebody makes a mistake in the beginning, or if somebody does something and nobody is ready, or you're not ready, just be like, no, I wasn't ready. I was trying to tell this person, blah 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 blah. Just wipe and let's go in again. Don't hit the boss. And if it's the impatient person who doesn't want to comply with that and they don't want it, they're like, no, I'm gonna hit the boss again. That's a person that y'all vote to kick. Vote to kick him. Get him the fuck out. Really.
That's what happens when you pull the boss while somebody's teaching, right? They're in a chat typing stuff out for somebody to understand, and you just instantly just pull the boss. And the funny part was I was a healer that time, so that's basically not good. Because if I die, the rest of the team might die if they don't have a wand user.
That's fine. That's fine. And it's not going to be your fault. It's not going to be your fault. It's going to be the person who pulled the boss, and you just stand there and you do not heal not one of them. And you type in the chat, listen, I wasn't ready, just wipe. And if the rest of everybody else was like, oh, all right, cool. Like that's all it should be. That's all it should be. Like hitting the boss and then nobody was ready and then wiping immediately is not a problem. It's when you waste a bunch of time doing, like if you were to waste a whole bunch of time fighting that out for like 10, 15 minutes, it's like, why? Just wipe immediately and start over again and go back to teaching what you was teaching. You gotta take that leader role sometimes. Like, yo, nobody told you to hit the boss. Hold on, I'm trying to tell this person how to do this thing. And if that one person there that pulls the boss all the time wants to just be a jerk and just pull the boss again, vote to kick him and matchmake. Because he's just gonna waste more of your time.
Oh, let's be honest and let's be a buck right there. Don't pull anything if somebody explains something real fast. If somebody asks you a question like, hey, like, do you know the mechanics? We can explain something to you. And we say nothing, they're just going to assume that you know the mechanic and you just don't need teaching, right? But when you just sit there and not understand the mechanic.
But if they don't have a keyboard.
Be like,
if they ask you a question, then they probably have a keyboard. So I'm not going to do that.
Because you're going to trial and error until you meet the one person that you wish you never meet. Because those are the type of people that are going to be in this game that is going to come after you. That's going to basically tone you down for not who you is, for what you're doing. Okay? It's your action, not mine. I teach people.
No. When you take the leader role, it is also your actions. You choose how you react to things. So if somebody does something stupid, you can choose how you react to it. If somebody pulls the boss, like I just said, if somebody pulls the boss in the beginning, you don't have to get frustrated with it. Like I might be like, why would you do that? Like, but like it's just I'm just gonna stand there and wipe because it's like we're not gonna lose nothing for wiping. We already wiped like 4 times anyway. Trying. So like it is your actions. It's always gonna be your actions. So be a leader. And if you're explaining something to someone and somebody else hits the boss, just be like, I'm not ready to fight the boss. We're trying to explain this. And just wipe. It will save you a lot of stress and keep your mental health nice and neat and tidy. I'm telling you.
I don't leave dungeons. I don't expel people. Even though I know how to.
Nah, you need to expel people. If somebody is pulling the boss repeatedly or they're rushing everybody when you're trying to tell them something, vote that person off. Vote them out in matchmake because just it's a whole lot better to do the dungeon with people that are willing to listen. And if you got one bad apple in your team that's just literally trolling y'all and just like rushing y'all to do stuff without letting you explain things, get him out. Expel him. Kick him. Get him out. Because he's just going to cause you more harm than good. Like just get him out.
Leave a dungeon, even though I know how to expel people. I don't do that. Period. I even care that much about people who has children and family.
No. That's not who you're expelling. You're not expelling the people that have children and family. You're expelling the people that are rushing you to get done. I don't care if you have kids or family or whatever else you have to do or responsibilities. You made the decision, right? The guy who's on here made the decision to sit down and play this game, right? That everybody else is playing too, and they decide to ruin everybody else's experience by rushing them and pulling the boss when nobody asked them to do it, right? Especially when they're not the tank, right? Nobody asked him to pull a boss, and just because he has responsibilities doesn't mean he can rush everybody else through the game. Take that somewhere else. You can't just ruin somebody else's experience because, oh, you have kids, you got responsibilities. Like, that's like me, like, trying to rush people because, oh, I have to get up and go to work in the morning. We need to hurry up and finish this. Nobody told me to start a dungeon run in the middle of the night, knowing that I'm trying to get off and I got other stuff to do before I go to sleep. That's not nobody's responsibility but mine, right? So it's not your responsibility to rush through the dungeon because the other dude got to get off and take care of his kids. It's not your responsibility. If he need to rush off and take care of his kids, vote him out, get him out of there, and then he can go take care of his kids and his family. You understand what I'm saying?
Right?
I really hope you make it to the end of this.
First.
I know it's long,
I don't care about
bro.
no damn game. They're
But
always first.
I knew it was going to be.
Just to literally make up an excuse for somebody and say, I'm going to my family. In my head, I'm going to my family. Instantly. I don't care what it is. Right? I always drop it. And the thing is, though, like, I care about people like that the most. It's just that other players who are either I don't want to cross no line.
But like I said, that's two different people. So if you got people that's like, oh, give me a second, I gotta go do something with my kids or whatever, or I gotta go tuck my kids in or whatever, I'll be right back. That's different than somebody that's rushing you through the boss and pulling a boss because they're trying to rush you so they can go do whatever they gotta do. But if they're like, oh, can you give me a second? You know, I gotta go do this thing, or I have this responsibility to take care of real quick. Can you give me like 5 minutes? Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, do what you gotta do. It's about how they handle that, right? Like, so it's like you gotta see how people are acting and react accordingly. If somebody is rushing you through the boss because they got stuff to do, that's not your responsibility, right? But if they ask, hey, can you give me like 5 minutes? I gotta go do this thing real quick. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, whatever. Right? That person, I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Right? Now, other people in the party may not like that, right? But like if I'm playing with me and like 2 or 3 of my friends, so somebody types that and they're like, yo, can you give me 5 minutes? We're probably all gonna be like, yeah, sure, whatever, go ahead. Like we're probably gonna be here for another like half hour anyway, trying to get through this boss, another hour or whatever, trying to get through the boss. Yeah, go ahead, do what you got to do. We'll be waiting for you when you get back.
I'm just gonna say those type of players don't have patience for you, and it's okay. All right, I'm not crossing no bounds. I'm not gonna say who they are. I'm not gonna say what they do. I'm not gonna assume who they are. I'm just gonna say those type of players are not going to have patience for you, and you're gonna run to those type of players. You're gonna have an issue. You're gonna have an argument. But again, that's basically your experience. I'm just telling you how both sides is. I'm telling you as a suggestion thing. I'm not going to entirely tell you to do that. That's up to you as a player because you as a person have responsibility in this game, and that is learning entirely from this game, and you can learn more.
Well, learning entirely from this game would be not watching a video. that would be learning entirely from this game. But I understand what you mean. But like, yeah, your responsibility is to learn. But like you don't have to learn the way somebody else tells you. It's like you're still gonna have to learn from the game. Whether you, my point again, you're still gonna have to learn from the game regardless of whether you watch a video or not. If you watch a video, it's going to help you, but it's not going to get you through it. You have to get through it. If you don't watch a video, it's going to be much harder for you to get through it because you won't know what to look for. So that's when people do a dungeon for the first time without videos out, because there are no videos out because it's the first time somebody's doing the dungeon, they all got to sit there and figure it out. They got to figure that shit out. So it's like sometimes people just go in because they're like not thinking about going to go look up a YouTube video because they're like, oh, I do this for other games. I figure it out in other games. I can come in this game and figure it out just the same way. But if it's somebody who does not learn from their mistakes and does not know how to look for different things that they're supposed to watch out for or whatever, those are the type of people that are not gonna watch a video anyway. Like they're not gonna. They probably hit level 50 just because they finished the story, right? They hit level 50 and they're like, oh, I guess I'm gonna do some dungeons, and then like they go in and they're like, oh, this is so hard. Why is this so hard? I just want to finish the dungeon. And those are the people that want to get carried through the dungeon. They leave, blah 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 blah, whatever else, right? Like they just get mad that they can't finish the dungeon, that they don't know the mechanics, they don't want to watch a video, they don't want to learn from their mistakes. Those are the kind of people you can't teach, right? Like you can't teach them. Maybe in some rare instances you might be able to say do this thing, and just make sure you do this, or make sure you stick close to the tank, or make sure that you're not in the way of this fireball, or only get hit by these 2 fireballs. Because people told me, they were like, yo, you're the tank, you gotta block the fireballs. So I was like, okay, cool. So I would try to block the fireballs, but sometimes I would miss the first fireball that I was supposed to block, right? And I would block the other 2. It seemed to be okay, right? Because we got through it, right? But that was like the level 30 dungeon or whatever. Then level 50 dungeon came by and it was like, yo, you got to block the fireballs. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I got to block the fireballs. Blocked all 3 of the fireballs. I'm dead. I'm like, did I do something wrong? My gear is not good enough? They're like, no, you're only supposed to block 2 of the fireballs. Oh, I wish somebody would have told me that, right? Like, that part would have been with the information that you gave me earlier. It was like, oh, you told me to block the fireballs. Now that you told me to block the fireballs, I don't have to watch a video because you told me what to do. But you left out a detail. You left out a detail. So I got killed because I took all 3 fireballs. So now I'm not going to take all 3 fireballs. I'm going to take 2 fireballs. It's going to be better, and we're going to get through this. So it's just like, it's either way, you're going to run into some snags here and there.
All right. Thank you for watching. I'm done. I'm going to go do a guild raid. See y'all later.
All right, man. I'll catch you later, bro. It's been. What is this playing? Full cam. anyway, it's been good. It's been good talking. I hope you make it to the end of this video. I know it's a long video. It's an hour long. Just listen. I hope you can listen to it like a podcast, and just I guess maybe weigh in on a couple of points if you want to, or just let me know that you heard what I said. I don't know if we've agreed on a lot more things after I've like gone over the stuff that you said in this video. I don't know if we agree a little bit more than we did before, but I feel like we're I guess pretty much on the same page, because I don't really disagree with the things that you say too much. Like I get the frustration of like the random people that you will play with in matchmaking and stuff like that, where they don't they don't um they don't really like cooperate very well. Like some people just don't cooperate very well, and it gets to be very difficult to play the game and very frustrating to play the game with these people. But like, I just think that, again, the main point that we were talking about, telling somebody to go watch a video doesn't really help you. Either it doesn't help them, it doesn't help you, because in most cases, somebody probably did watch a video that you're telling to watch a video if they're trying, right? If they're actually trying to get better and they're trying to learn the thing or whatever, they might have actually watched the video, but they just never ran through the entire dungeon yet. They don't understand it yet, right? They're not used to doing it yet. But in some cases, they probably didn't watch a video and they never intend to watch a video, and they're going to tell you to EAD and leave the game, right? Like, like I feel like that is, it's just no reason for me. I try not to be short with anybody that I'm trying to do the dungeons with, because I want them to like I said, I want them to be calm. Like, I want them to be calm. I want them to feel like they can fail to learn, and any type of thing that could maybe make them fly off the hinges, like telling them to go watch a video before they come in here, or you should have watched a video before you came, or maybe you need to go watch a video, or like, dude, what's wrong with you? This is easy. I don't know why you can't just do it. Why can't you just do it right? I'm not saying that you're saying that stuff, but I'm just saying these are the type of things that people say, and then that they are the problem. Like, the people that are actually toxic to people are the problem. And when you get mad at somebody and say like mean things to them, even if it was like small little things to them, and tell them, oh, this is so easy, I don't know why this person just can't do it. Why can't you just do the thing? Why can't you just get up there and just dump it? Like, it's so easy. And then like stuff like that, like people who are actually toxic to people are the ones that are actually the problem. Because if everybody wasn't mean to each other, and they were just chill, and it was just like, oh, let's do this dungeon, everybody was cool with failing a couple of times because they understood that you have to fail a couple of times to learn the dungeon, then we wouldn't have this problem at all. Like, we wouldn't have this issue. We probably wouldn't have to have this conversation at all. But it is what it is. Thanks for watching. If you did make it this far, it's a long one. I'm sorry. But that's how my reaction videos usually are when we talk about like a lot of like topics like that. So I'll catch y'all in the next video. All right, peace.